Good evening. Thursday, September 12th, 2024, here in Sarasota, Florida. That's the Gregorian matrix date. Now, even though we are on Lunar 21, the 21st day of the second month on the 13 moon Galactic Dreamspell calendar, that's the picture for this month, the lunar moon of challenge. We are on the 21st day out of 28, and that's the first time that I've shown the calendar. Unbelievable to me how quickly the time passes when I travel, especially for the longer gigs. And I had two gigs, one in Chicago, one in Canada, that were both 5 or 6 days that I was gone. And so, just like that, the past month has flown by. Now, somewhat forcing myself to do this video because I must keep the momentum flowing. There are so many things, nuances, beautiful synchronicities, little stories within the story, interactions, lessons, expanding things that took place in Canada round two that I can't sort through it all just quite yet. Much like with Chicago, there are a number of things that I could share publicly. And I haven't, I just, I'm astounded at the speed with which the acceleration of my world, the transition, it is so clearly a time of transition. And I do not believe that this is relegated to just my little story. I very much believe there is an extremely high level energetic filtering going on right now. I believe all of us are being beckoned in each of our respective lives. We are being called by this frequency band, if you will, of energy. And what it's forcing folks to do is really face circumstances, relationships, situations in each of our lives and reassess to what degree we want or need to keep these things a part of our lives. I believe it all has to do ultimately with getting more efficient with our energy expenditures, understanding to what degree creation, source, divinity is there to work in our favor. It's in our corner, but we have to sort of, in these human vessels, with our consciousness, with focusing our consciousness through our thoughts, through our actions, through our words, we sort of direct, we don't sort of, we direct the energy that then unfolds and manifests in our reality. I have understood this at least on a general level now for over 12 years, but it is amazing the speed with which everything has been accelerating in this particular year. And it is astounding how nuanced I feel all the energies circling around me. It's amazing how delicate the balance is. It is powerfully revealing that it has been made very clear that certain energy dynamics in my life, I just do not have the room, the time, the space, the will, the desire to want to have them in my life anymore. And letting go of such things has been one of my greatest challenges. I do not let go easily or well. I hold on to things. And I would like to do a recording in the near future here that dives into that a little bit more in terms of my own self-assessment in my story of particularly why I struggle with that. And I don't believe that it's necessarily just me that feels that way or experiences attaching to certain relationships and dynamics and then building patterns of unhealthy attachments and then learning how to break those patterns. And I'm in this, oh my God, it's amazing. It's amazing in how many ways I am consciously aware of young Alyson passing the baton off in the metaphorical track race to older Alyson. It's amazing. It's amazing. And it's a trip to be both witnessing my own story as an observer and, of course, simultaneously acting out my own story. And it's so multidimensional. And I know that the multidimensionality of that is the truer representation of who we are as beings and what is actually transpiring in reality on this planet around us all the time. Everything is on the table. The veil is being removed. The wizard behind the curtain is being exposed. And everything is on the table, sort of for, it's like a smorgasbord of life is on the table for us to choose from in terms of how we pick and choose and mix and match in terms of what we give our attention to and our focus to create our realities. And it's all happening at once. It's all happening at once. And then there are various aspects of ourselves, not only just in this life, but also the healing that's going on ancestrally that ties beyond this lifetime for each of us. Now, I know that might have gotten a little too far crazy, but all to say that Canada was, it's in the top 5 of one of my best event experiences ever. And I've been in this 21 years. And to give you an idea of how many events I've worked, I'm on 40 for this year. And I think I worked 35 last year. So you're talking about hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of events over 21 years. And this past weekend was maybe the top slot, definitely in the top 5. Now, yes, admittedly, the little bit of smitten feelings with a particular gentleman that I will repeat and continue to repeat. I do not believe that it is intended to be any sort of romantic type relationship with this man. However, the way this man's energy is intersecting with my field, his energy field intersecting with my energy field, is igniting me in a way that I can't really control. And I'm pretty proud of myself because I've sort of surrendered to it and just let myself be sort of like a giddy schoolgirl that has a crush. I'm really working hard to keep perspective and to not grow attached to my imagination and the story that I'm apt to weave inside of my head, really working to stay present with the excitement, really working to remember that whatever we feel that we attribute to something outside of us, to remind myself, and by extension, you all listening, that it's always something that's reflecting something back inside of us. So whatever it is that his particular energy field is igniting, this excitement, this inspiration, this just sort of blissful, joyous feeling, it's mirroring back something that's going on within me. So I'm careful not to attribute it to him per se. But that's not to say that clearly the uniqueness of his human character with mine, the way the chemistry is, something is going on that is causing me to feel and experience that jolt of, I will call it the feeling of love because it's all love. And I know that sounds hippy dippy, airy fairy, but that is what divine is. That is, from my perspective, what God is and what source is. It's love. It's all love. And so this excitement is just, man, I'm not going to try to squash it. I'm not going to attach to it, but I am going to let it run through me and act out through me however it wants to. And the way that translated this past weekend was just into one of the most enjoyable events, albeit, they're not easy. Working 60 hours in 4 days is not particularly easy. It went by relatively quickly, but like I said, I am smack dab in a massive transition. I am so well aware of the fact that I'm bridging and in an active transition. Therefore, I'm like embraced and entangled sort of in some older aspects of myself, some more evolved aspects of myself, some lessons that are coming that are asking me again, okay, are you really ready to evolve, or do you want to keep repeating some of these things? And when I leave and come back, I cannot believe it. I cannot believe how much I feel changed and how quickly it's happening. And you have to keep pace with yourself. And so, with that said, I guess that shares just a little bit of the energy. I only had 3 days to recover, really 2 days, because today I had to load a truck and I've got a local event tomorrow and Saturday. So I only had 48 hours to recover, and I returned home to a very big altering living situation in my little home that is not been easy for me. Nothing personal, but I really, really have worked tremendously hard, as I shared in one of my videos in my Touching the Soul series, how important and how much I value my space. And there is a circumstance where I'm having to help a friend out for a period of time. That period of time is not specifically known, but suffice to say, um, it's not been a particularly easy adjustment, and it's definitely going to require me to be firm with an aspect of myself that is not wholly developed and practiced yet, and that is the aspect of setting boundaries and remembering that I have to look out for me. I cannot expect anybody else to look out for me over themselves. I cannot expect anybody else to read my mind. I cannot expect that anybody is going to be experiencing things from my perspective. So I need to communicate. I need to set boundaries. Um, and I need to not forget what I've worked hard for me. And it's not my job to learn other people's lessons. It's not my job to take on other people's problems. And the way that I help is something that I just have to be very cognizant of and aware and discerning. And this isn't the only circumstance in my world. There are a couple of big things, big relationships that have history and circumstances that are really requiring me to step through them with compassion, step through them with understanding, but also stepping through them with firmness. And again, with the ability to look out for what I have worked hard for, to provide for myself. We're all making choices out there. We are all making choices. While it may feel at times that we do not have a choice, we do. We have a choice, and there are consequences to choices that we make. I've made a choice to stay in this home and to stay in this town and to continue to avoid regular employment. Those choices have come with consequences of working very, very hard, but I know what I value. I know what matters most, and I wasn't going to settle for anything less. And I don't put that expectation on anybody else to provide that for me. If these are my choices, then I have to provide for my choices. I'm not in a situation where I'm looking to provide for somebody else. I don't have a significant other and I don't have children. I am looking out for me and my little four-legged fur baby Peanut. Other than that, I cannot bear the responsibility for others in the same way that I have in the past. And I have multiple things in my life right now that are challenging me to put my money where my mouth is, as they say, and demonstrate that I'm learning those lessons. And therefore it's new. It's new. So more to be revealed on that maybe down the line. Okay, I guess that's enough. Yeah, that's enough. I'm going to get through the next couple of days with this gig, and then I've got 12 days. And I've got some announcements I'm going to make in those 12 days. And I'm going to save those for next week. So probably be another few days for a video. But until then, thank you if you're watching, if you're listening. And remember, ultimately, what I'm trying to be an example of is the extent to which we create our own realities. We get to make it up. We really, really do. We have so much more power than what we've been made to believe, than what we've been taught to execute. And more than anything, what I'm trying to share is these stories, my life story. These aren't just words. This is my life. This is my life. And I am so close, honest to God, so close to sort of my dream life. I mean, like, I would say, like, the bare minimum of my dream life. If I get to this point and am here for the rest of this lifetime, that will represent an absolute dream for me. Doing work that I love completely on my time, dictated by me, in a space that I'm comfortable with, that affords me my space. If that's all I ever get for the rest of this life, I am a queen living in my own castle. And if this is the metaphorical line, I'm like right here. I'm so close. Now, it's been 12 years in the making, and it took a lot longer than I thought. But in the sharing of my story, one of the many, many intentions and goals and purposes is to share it in a way that helps any listener to accelerate their own journey to whatever extent suits them. And so, yeah, more to come as always. Thanks for listening. Have a good night. Bye.